We are live. I am so excited, everyone, as I'm sure you can tell from the weird noise that just came out of my mouth. But I can't think of a better way to spend a Thursday. This is just going to be such an amazing evening. My name is Stephanie. I am the director of events for The Novel Neighbor. If you're not familiar with us, we are an independent bookstore run out of St. Louis, Missouri. And yeah, I guess that's all you need to know about us. We can ship you your books. So if you're watching and you're like, I didn't pick up my books this week, don't worry if we're in St. Louis, we can still ship them to you. And we do still have some signed book plates left for both of our authors this evening. So that's our first housekeeping thing to spotlight. I'll talk more about that at the end too, because we want to get into the good stuff, right? I think that's the major thing. And then the only other thing that we need to talk about is that I see tons of comments coming through. I'm so excited you all are here. I'm so excited. It's so fun to read through these and see how excited everyone else is. Please feel free to start dropping your questions at any time. I'll kind of be checking them out throughout the event. If you have follow-up questions and you're like, Stephanie, why did you not ask that? That was teed up right there for you. Drop it in the comments. I'll make sure I ask it. So I think that's, wow, everyone's having a great time. All your books are arriving. I love that for you all. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to introduce our incredible authors, even though, like, if we're all being honest, they don't need any introduction. We all know what we're here for. But Emily Henry is the #1 New York Times bestselling author of People We Meet on Vacation and Beach Read. And we can now add book lovers to that list, obviously. She studied creative writing at Hope College and now spends most of her time in Cincinnati, Ohio, and the part of Kentucky just beneath it. So that is our first author. Our second author, who is celebrating her book birthday week, is Ali Hazelwood, the New York Times bestselling author of The Love Hypothesis, as well as the writer of peer-reviewed articles about brain science, in which no one makes out and the ever after is not always happy. Womp womp. Originally from Italy, she lived in Germany and Japan before moving to the US to pursue a PhD in neuroscience. She recently became a professor, which absolutely terrifies her, but we're thrilled for her, obviously. When Allie is not at work, she can be found running, eating cake pops, or watching sci-fi movies with her 2 feline overlords and her slightly less feline husband. So, Emily, Allie, thank you so much for being here this evening.
Hi. Thank you for having us.
So excited.
I am so excited. This feels like just the perfect pairing. Although, Allie, you've had like a wild week. You spent like Tuesday evening with Tessa Bailey, I think, right?
Oh my God. It was amazing. It was amazing. She's fantastic.
Were you like fangirling at the same time that you're trying to like talk about your book? Is that?
It was, I just wanted to ask her all the questions just like, how does one become a writer and be a writer? That's what I was like, I just wish everyone would go away and leave me alone with Tessa so that I can ask her things. Whatever.
I love knowing that that's what was happening inside your brain. I now wish that we had Tessa here to like complete this trio and like get her perspective, but
she's so weird. I think she was trying to get me alone with her.
Incredible. Okay, well, I think that most of us know why we are here in some way, shape, or form. But I think due diligence for everyone watching, we need to spend some time talking about the books and what they're about. So, Allie, do you want to start us off since it's your book birthday week? If people don't know, or maybe like I saw somebody in the comments who's like, I'm working my way through Love Hypothesis right now. What is Love on the Brain about?
Love on the Brain is about a neuroscientist who is selected to lead a very important project at NASA. And she is very happy about it until she finds out that the person she's going to co-lead her project with is a terrible former nemesis of hers. And it's basically the story of them, working together and, of course, falling in love and that.
Yeah.
So
I've been doing this like 4 times a day for a week, and I'm still horrible at it. I don't know what's going on.
There's like a line graph that happens. It's like you get slightly better, and then at some point it just starts tanking again. you're like, okay, the longer a book is out, the worse that you are at talking about it.
I actually truly feel like this one was one of my worst times. So like I feel like I am already clearly.
Well, you just kept it really simple and really, really, really spoiler free.
Okay, honestly,
Which is what we need. Yeah.
this is the encouragement and like affirmation I need in this moment of need. Thank you guys. Thank
You've
you.
had a long week. It's Thursday.
Yeah.
That's all people need to know
We
about
done.
this book. Anything
Yeah.
else, they need to just go in because it's
You don't-
so fun.
Really, honestly, all you need to read to like prepare yourself for the book is like the front cover at the bottom where it says Allie Hazelwood. So that's like kind of how I would pitch it personally, but your description was okay too.
Thank you. I mean, there is a blurb that Christina Lauren wrote, and they are the best. I
They're
feel
the
like,
best.
please trust them and buy my book. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Don't
They're the
believe
best
me.
and they have great taste. Yes.
Exactly.
They have incredible taste.
Mhm.
And Emily, we have to talk about book lovers. If there's a person on this planet who has not read Book Lovers yet, I mean, like,
Right.
you hate them, but like, also, what are you doing? What is Book Lovers about?
Book Lovers is about Nora Stevens, who is like a hardened, tough literary agent in New York City, whose life is like really going how she wants it to go, except for that every time she like gets serious with a man, he breaks up with her for someone who's totally different from her and usually like moves away to like live in the countryside and like help run a bakery or whatever. And she's just like, why does this keep happening? And then her sister Libby convinces Nora that they should get away and have like this month-long sisters trip in a small town so that Nora can like have her own transformational small town love story the way that her ex-boyfriends keep having. But then when she gets there, they keep running into her nemesis from back in the city, Charlie Lastra, who is a very like opinionated editor who she had a really bad interaction with a year before the book started. So he's kind of interrupting what's supposed to be her small town love story.
He is interrupting that story.
He is.
Ugh. Just hearing you both talk about your books, like I literally just finished reading them again this week, and I'm like, I don't know, is it ready for the third time? Like, I think that could be how we spend a weekend.
Yeah, I feel like that's the best thing about romance is there's just like such a rereadability for some reason, even though you're like, I know they're going to get together, but I guess I knew that when I read it the first time too. So
yeah, exactly. Okay, I think the next thing that we definitely need to cover is like, Allie, I loved reading the acknowledgments of Love on the Brain because I think that like in it you like talk about how you're kind of writing those acknowledgments like wow, the love hypothesis is like really taking off, like, and no one had even knew about Love on the Brain.
I don't remember what I wrote, I'm gonna be honest, but I mean, I just wrote like my final edits for my third book were due on Monday night.
no,
Yes.
that schedule.
Okay, can I also like a moment of shade from my editor, whom I love, but I like to shade her a lot.
Yeah.
So she emails me at 6 p.m. on Monday night telling me, so what's going on with the edits? Because we knew that they were due on Monday. And like my knee-jerk reaction, like this is the first thing that I did was typing on my phone, all caps, I thought I had until midnight.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking you have until midnight.
Thank you. See, so there are some people on my side. Sarah, if you're here watching this, people are on my side. Anyway, and then like I had a moment to think about it and I was like, I have never channeled my students more than in this moment.
Yes. Seriously. Like I take it all back. Everything I said was unfair. You were right.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I was writing my acknowledgments that night on Monday night, the day before the book. Like it's amazing how much in advance you have to write this stuff, really.
Yeah. And then you come to do your events and you're talking about Love on the Brain, but you're like, wait, what is it about? Because you've been so immersed in the book that you just finished.
On Tuesday night, Tessa corrected me on the name of a secondary character, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna take it.
Forget you heard that name. That name is not important. It doesn't exist.
Tessa, I love you. Thank you for this.
I was like, spoilers for your next book accidentally in this conversation.
Okay, yeah.
I just truly think that is so wild that you had to do that Monday night. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Well, it's my fault. Actually, it's my fault. Like, I didn't have to do it on Monday night. I just did it on Monday night because,
like, literally that is how it always is. And then I'm also a huge fan of the day it's due being like, actually, I'm gonna need 3 more days, and it's like some arbitrary tiny amount of time, but you're like, I can just not sleep for 3 more days, and then
yeah. It's amazing how writing went from like this really beautiful thing, and it's still something that gives me a lot of joy, but when you do it on deadline, it's like,
it's different.
oh my God, I cannot believe that I am doing this thing that I used to do this for pleasure, like, for free.
Right. You used to be like, oh, I just can't wait to see what I'm gonna write next, and now you're just like,
yes,
too much. It's too much.
It's what deadlines do. It's yeah.
It's true. It is. I think that's the perfect thing to transition though into talking about. Like, you used to write fan fiction, and maybe you still do, and we don't know about it. I'm still holding out
the
possibility.
As you can tell, I am late with my edits, so like I have zero time to write fan fiction. But I wish.
If your editor were on here and you were like, yeah, I'm still publishing fan fiction, she would probably be so mad right now because she'd be like, seems like it could have been in my inbox by 6 p.m.
Actually, my 400,000 word Witcher fan fiction is out on AO3. Please check it out.
You've been really, really invested in it all summer. Every spare minute has gone to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really wish that this was true.
Yeah.
Me too.
It's not.
I'm also like, you're getting paid and stuff, and I'm glad for that. That's fine, I guess.
Yeah, no, I do also like money. There's that.
Yeah.
So
we want you to get paid on top of being a professor. We love all of that for you.
Yeah.
If you can think back to September 2021, that's a long time ago. And I also feel like it's not just a standard year, it's like a COVID year. So like all of that being accounted for, like writing a sophomore book is hard. I have heard. I would not know. I have not written a book. But I've heard that it's hard. So like, how was the experience of writing Love on the Brain while like you're watching Love Hypothesis just become like everyone's newest obsession? Like, was that difficult, or like was that kind of just like you blocked all of that out? What was your sophomore writing experience like?
Right. So I was on sub. Like, being on sub is when your agent is pitching the book to like editors, and I was on sub with the Love Hypothesis for many months, and it really didn't seem like it was gonna sell for a long time. I think it was 9 months or something. It had been a fan fiction, so it had a lot of issues that then we later on fixed with my editor. But at the time when it was on sub, like a lot of people just kind of didn't want to take on such a big project, I think, and during that time, I actually wrote Love on the Brain, and Love on the Brain was going to be my first book because my agent and I were pretty convinced that that Love Hypothesis was never going to sell. And so I actually had Love on the Brain written when I signed my contract for the Love Hypothesis, and I turned it in. I was doing still some edits with my editor, but like they were pretty mild. It was my novellas and my third book that I was writing during the Love Hypothesis. And I also was not smart about it because now I have learned not to look at reviews and like to stay away from social media. But at the time I wasn't. And so, there was a lot of like getting it in my head that like, it was hard. There were a lot of like things in my head when I was like, before, in a fan fiction environment, everyone is very nice. At least in my fandom, really? Everyone was very nice. Okay, so I'm gonna be real. Like, I'm sure that sometimes in fan fiction environments, people are harsh, but like, it's nothing like Goodreads.
I mean, I don't know if you saw Allie, but I just got a 3-star review for my book like several hours before I turned it in from someone who was just not happy with the ending. And then I like checked today and it was gone, but I was just like, that actually delighted me. I was like, this is ending to her book. 3 stars. Said, not her not her worst, but definitely not her best. Wanting more. And I was like, this is amazing. I'm literally about to turn this book in.
That is, you know what though? Like, even though there's the rational part of me is like, rational part would be like, yeah, whatever, this person is nuts.
Yeah.
The real like part of me was like, oh God, this person knows. They know. They know.
There literally was. I did email my agent just to be like, because I was like, haha, this is funny. And then after like 30 seconds, I was like, oh no, maybe it has been shared. And this is like someone inside of Penguin who thinks that my book is bad, whatever, because this was like the last draft. So I did email my agent to be like, just wanted to double check for no reason. This hasn't been shared with any scouts or like internally or anything. She was like, no, it's like literally just me and your editors who've read it. And I was like, oh my God, thank God.
I would go right. That's where my head would go. Like right there. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like,
probably they're right and I'm horrible. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Goodreads is a very scary place.
No,
it's
I didn't know, but now I know.
Now you
I know. I've learned.
So book 4 will be a breeze.
My general rule is like, y'all, would you feel comfortable saying this to the author if you were looking at them in the face? Because I think sometimes we just get a little bit too much behind the keyboard and we just feel like, is it a book that's just not for you and it's for a lot of other people and like that's okay, the world doesn't need your review? Because I think like maybe that could be what's happening.
But also it really is like, it is our job to stay away from Goodreads. Like I feel like when people tag you in the bad reviews, that's like, what is the point of this? This is like like it, to me it's almost like tagging someone in like a picture of their baby and being like, ugly baby. Like that's kind of like how it feels to me. But on Goodreads, I'm like, you're right, I shouldn't be here, what am I doing?
No, that's true. Like Goodreads is like, and you know, I should just block it, but I can't really block it because I want to like use it to hype other people's books that I like.
So it's self-control. You have to use like the self-control block.
Which I do not.
Same.
Like I can use the self-control app on my computer, but I don't have self-control as a person. Like I don't have that executive functioning.
You have it
that's
as
a problem.
App, just not as a trait.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I do notice that you leave really lovely reviews. So that has not gone undone of like, I see those really great reviews you used to hype other people's books. So,
I love writing reviews of books that I like, just because when I finish a book, I really just want to stay with it a little bit longer. I'm like, I love that song. So I can't block Goodreads, but at the same time.
Literally just have to, I actually do the thing, which I don't advise, but I'll do the thing where it's like, okay, open it. And I'm like covering it and scrolling down and then clicking 5-star only. Every once in a while, that's my self-control.
Okay, but I'm going to be real. Like, I feel like if I watch the 5-star, if I look at the 5-star reviews, then I have to. I love that. Like, we have the same, probably dysfunctional mechanisms in our brains.
Mm-hmm. Well, and even the 5 stars a lot of times find a way to like, again, this is why it's just not a space for authors and we shouldn't go there. Because it's like, sometimes you're like, this is a 5-star review and you're like, ooh, this is a cutting one. Despite really hating everything that the author has done before this book and a large portion of this one too, and wishing ill on her. Giving this 5 stars.
Her cats are ugly, but
tag Allie Hazelwood.
I feel like y'all can become like each other's accountability partners of like, are you itching for like Goodreads? Let's just talk about books with each other. Like this.
Yeah. But again, I love seeing your reviews and you'll get the self-control at some point, maybe. If I do someday, you will too.
Yeah, no, I think it's a journey and I'm on it and I am ready to grow. I cannot, like, it has never happened to me that I went to my Goodreads page and I haven't left in tears or like just generally hating myself. So I know it's gonna happen. That like I just have to hit rock bottom. and then
in general, that's a good way to live. I've never heard anyone say not to do that.
That is how I approach everything in life.
Yeah.
Let me just hit rock bottom real quick and then I'll be back.
Yeah.
You are literally so funny. Emily, I mean, it sounds like a lot of that is like relatable. Obviously, it's been a little bit since you wrote like your sophomore book, but I imagine that like it is hard to write a book and like announce Happy Place at a time when like everyone is still like fawning over book lovers. And like, maybe this is our time, everybody, to like have our Happy Place conversation. And you like,
Yes.
but your experience writing, book lovers, and like whatever else you can tell us about Happy Place, and then we'll like close that little chapter of our evening.
Perfect. Yeah. So I luckily was in the same situation as Allie, where I wrote my second book before Beach Read came out. And so that really saved me a lot of misery. But Book Lovers was very, very, very hard to write. And I was like, okay, good. I got past like what would normally be the sophomore slump. I feel like was like my third book writing experience. And I was like, all right, I made it through the wilderness. I'm okay. And then like Happy Place was just like every bit as hard, just like pulling out my own fingernails to write a page. But it's finally, you know, it's in and I feel good about it and whatever. But yeah, I think it is hard. It's like, it's hard if once you realize the experience of being read, and that of course not everyone can love your book, even if you love your book, or even if other people love your book, like that's this whole hurdle that you have to get over to keep writing. But then there's also the hurdle of when you're only letting yourself see the 5-star reviews and you know things are going pretty well as far as like how your career is going. There's that terror of like letting your audience down, where you're like, oh, finally people are like reading what I'm writing. And so far, like, you know, overall, it feels like people who liked the first one have enjoyed the next two. And so every single time I feel like it's going to be like, is this the book where I just like really missed the mark? And it's really hard to trust yourself. And I feel like I really like it. That's one of the great things about having an editor. You really like see their vision and, you know, feel like you're on the same page. Because when they say it's ready, I feel like I would just keep changing one word for the rest of time if I didn't have an editor to be like, okay, it's ready. It's like moving on now to like copy edits. So yeah, that's the whole writing thing. And then Happy Place, I like can't say a ton about it. The announcement is up, and so the cover copy is there. And so most people who follow me already know that it's about a friend group from college who take a yearly trip together. And, you know, it started out as these like 5 close friends in college. And then like one of their partners started joining the trip. And then a couple of the couples coupled up basically. So it's like this big couples trip now, but it's like also long-term best friends. And the point of view character, Harriet, and her boyfriend of like 9 years or something. I don't know how long, of a long time. Her fiance, Wynn, they have secretly broken up and they haven't told their friends yet. And so they're planning to like she's planning to tell her friends on this trip. And then, you know, that's kind of the decision is he found an excuse not to go. She's going to show up and tell her friends. But then she shows up and he's there. And she's like, what's going on? And then her friends are like, basically like, surprise, this other thing is happening this week. And so it's just this like scenario where they're forced to pretend to, not forced, they make a bad decision. They pretend to still be together for a week. Like it is simply a bad decision.
That is what I'm here for. Bad decisions by good people.
Yeah. I'm so with you because I think in real life, it feels like so hard for me to make even the smallest bad decision. And I love reading about people making bad decisions because I'm just like, this is as close as I'm going to get. Like mostly, and like very, I don't know, hyper vigilant in most ways. So anyway, yeah, it'll be out next April, and it's, you know, set in, it's like everything. I feel like most of the things I can say I've already said, but
could we know
yeah,
the names of the characters? Like I've studied the characters on the cover.
Yeah, that's fun. We can do that. I don't have the cover right in front of me because that will be a fun little thing that only people in this conversation will have heard. So,
I've been wondering, like, I was looking at them and I was like, I was trying to, okay, first of all, I was looking the GMA reveal and it was like, I was trying to like stop the screen and enlarge. I was like,
enhance. Doing the like FBI on TV thing.
I tried so hard and then I'm so glad you posted it. And I was like, I wonder what their personalities are.
Yeah, that's fun. I can do a little tiny, I can open my own Instagram and then see the cover. That occurred to me. I'm so clueless with technology, you guys, that I was just like, I don't know how to find the cover right now.
I am also opening your Instagram.
Yeah. Okay. So here's
I'm just going to your profile, Emily.
Yeah. All right, so Harriet and Wynn are in the front. She's got kind of like the dark hair and really fair skin. He's got like blondish brownish hair. And then the couples are not like jumping together. They're kind of like every other. So Sabrina is in the front with the blonde hair, and then Parth is her boyfriend, and they are both lawyers and very competitive with each other. They would have been a fun couple to write, but I had just done Nora and Charlie, and so I was like, let me do like a really melancholy, sad couple instead of a hard ass couple for some reason.
She's a surgeon, right? Is that what she?
Yeah, Harriet. So Harriet is a resident. She's trying to become a brain surgeon. So also give me some grace in how little like schooling and surgery is discussed. It's just sort of like.
I know nothing about surgery, but I am ready for like that type of personality because I'm fascinated by this personality. So I'm excited.
Yeah. And then Wynn is like he does like furniture repair kind of stuff. So they're like an odd couple in some ways. Yeah.
Oh my God. I love it. I love like artsy and like, oh, I love this. Yeah. I'm excited.
They're cute. And then the third couple are probably actually my favorite as far as just like who I'd want to be friends with. And that's Cleo and Kimmy. And they are farmers. Which was inspired by my close friends who are farmers. So they're like, they started out like they met woofing, doing like organic farming. And now they're like living upstate and fixing up this old house in upstate New York. And they run a farm.
I love it. Is Cleo has the yellow bathing suit or the okay.
Yeah. And Kimmy's in like a orange bikini, I think. Yeah. They're cute. And Kimmy is like a funny little goofball, and Cleo is just like a sweet little genius farmer girl. I love them. Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah. I hope people like them. You know, it's like I
cannot wait to parasocially attach myself to them.
But yeah. Thank you.
All my friends in real life and be like, this is my new group of friends.
Yeah, sorry. I'm going on vacation with them next year.
Goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye forever.
Allie, I feel like you just asked like the question of the evening. Like everyone is like thrilled that you asked.
I am not a fangirl here. I know what I want to know.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, which like I do love that you're basically like, who are the couples? Because I was recently doing an event with Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I was like, how do you come up with these amazing ideas? And she was like, honestly, I was like talking about like the cultural fixations that she kind of like homes in on. And she was like, honestly, it's because I'm always trying to figure out who was sleeping with whom. And so she's like, anytime, like, you know, like the Fleetwood Mac situation, like she's just like, I just am always parsing through celebrity gossip and like pop culture being like, who was sleeping together?
That is such like thinking about all of Taylor Jenkins Reid's body of work, that makes like, so much sense, and it makes me love it even more.
I know, me too, because I was like, this is why these work so well, is because she's got a whole audience of people like us who are like, I too want to know who's sleeping with whom.
It's a TMZ. I want to know these things, even though like sometimes it's sleazy and I feel bad for the people, but I want to know it.
Right. I do love celeb gossip. Yeah. But also I love reality TV where they're like, we'll create gossip for you.
Oh yeah. I am here for manufactured drama. Like I have zero standards.
Same.
Oh
yeah.
Wow. My mind is reeling from that information. It's really like connecting some dots for Carrie said. Okay. I think that's something that I will definitely be saddened, or people will be sad if I do not ask this question. So I think we need to get to this one. You both have this wild skill set of introducing us to men that we are supposed to dislike to a certain extent, but not too much that we can't recover from disliking them. There's like a fun tension there, the journey that we go on. And like, how do you do that? How do you come up with these men that like by the end we find them to be the most swoon-worthy person on the face of the planet? There's memes made about your men in your books. I'm sure you have seen them. What is that process? Whoever wants to talk about that first, but both of you are going to have to like discuss how you write these male characters.
Allie, do you want to go first? So
Yeah,
I can just be like, yeah, what she said.
First of all, I would like to like bless the meme makers of like Instagram. They are like the stuff that they do. I laugh so hard sometimes. I also like, I'm gonna be super real. I'm still figuring out this writing thing. I started with fan fiction, and I think I am still like, it's hard for me to write original things. So for now, most of my men are like Mr. Darcy, but in different settings. I really am just trying to figure it out. And I just take like men that when I read about them, I'm like, oh, I feel so Sunni and stuff. And then I try to kind of mimic it a little bit. And I feel like I should probably start interjecting some variety into what I write, but also, I do come from fan fiction, and so I like repetition. But so yeah, I mean, for me, it really is just like trying to take things that I read and really, really liked, and to reproduce them without plagiarizing them, so that I cannot be sued. I'm gonna just that's where I'm at.
Yeah, man, that's a good answer. And I will be really curious because do you feel like the love interest of your third book is sort of like Levi and Adam, or do you feel like he's like a different flavor?
He's different. He's more of an asshole, I think.
That's fun. That's fun.
I truly think that Adam and Levi are. He's more open. I don't know how to say it. Like he's just like he's someone who really like wears his feeling.
Fun.
Is the expression wear it on?
Hard on the sleeve.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he's just like more of a person who just says what he thinks all the time. And I hope, but I think he's also like, like tall. And
yeah, right. He's still very Allie Hazelwood hot. Like
I am working through things.
This is going to turn into therapy, really.
I am trying so hard. But yeah, I mean, he's I think he's different.
Yeah,
I also am not 100% sure that he's different and not just like me trying to write someone who's different and then falling into the same guy. So watch out for that. We'll find out when arcs go out.
Levi and Adam already feel like different people. It's like they're definitely from the same, like they're from the same school of thought, but they definitely are different.
They are variation.
Yeah. Like one of them
Darcy. Huh? Sorry, what did you say?
I said like one of them has blue eyes or green eyes. Or
what? Yeah, green. I mean, I made an effort. Yeah. Come on.
I'm with you. It's so hard when you know like the enemies to lovers thing, how it works and you feel like you're good at it and you like love it so much as a reader. It is really hard to try and do those other relationships where you're like, and I think, and that's why it's like enemies to lovers lends itself really well to someone who's like super blunt and that it's someone who is misunderstood. And that's not saying you're relying like on the miscommunication trope heavily, but that's what's that's what's appealing about it. And like Mr. Darcy, that's what's appealing about him. It's like, yeah, on the outside he looks like an asshole, but like, and on the inside he still kind of is an asshole. But also it's really sweet and special to see someone like rise to that challenge and conversation and like get past that really thorny outer layer. So it's really, I feel like it's so much harder to figure out someone, or for me, and sounds like for you too, to figure out a character who's just sort of like, I'm nice and I am here to be a love interest.
But that is like, that's one of the things of People Meet on Vacation that I like. Like,
thank you.
It's just like, I was just amazed by, because it's so hard to keep the tension high with like friends,
Yeah.
And yet like,
I
was there, and I was like, that's so good, and I just want to know more about them, but without them hating each other, like,
right. True, but it still really relied on the fact of this person being. It's not like he's thorny, but he's very reserved and repressed. And so that still worked, and it's harder when it's like, it is harder to write like a love story with conflict in it when you're like, okay, is everybody just gonna like say what they mean?
Is everybody gonna be a functioning adult? Like, come on, that's not what
where's
we
the
do.
story in there? Like, if they've already gone to therapy before it starts, then
it's we're here for damaged people. Come on. I know.
Does that answer your question, Stephanie?
It was perfect. I'm like, Levi, like, he went to therapy. He's done some work.
He did.
Thrilled for him. Yeah.
Wow. For him and for us.
Truly. And listen, you can keep handing me tall men. Like, there's
you.
like not gonna be a complaint here, you know?
I just like I don't know if you do it too, Emily, but like usually I have some like actor crush when a lot of them are tall. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is it always the same actor crush, or does it like switch up based off of like?
So for Love on the Brain, I was in my Jim Pam feelings because I watched The Office for the first time in 2020 because apparently I am like 25 years later. I was so into John Krasinski at the time. My life was John Krasinski and Pam.
I love that.
Yeah, it's I can't even like I can't say who I was thinking of for my third book because that person revealed like whatever. It's like I cannot put that mental image into the eyes of people because the things happened in the meantime. Guys, it was hard.
When you make the like reference in a book too, that's the worst thing when you're like trying to explain like a kind of character and you're like kind of this vibe and then later you're like, and he was arrested today with his house filled with AR-15s and like stolen jewels.
Precisely. That's exactly like I cannot give people this mental image. I cannot do this to you guys.
I feel like I strongly know who this was. We'll discuss it offline.
I know.
Guys, I was like mortified. Like I couldn't look at the book.
A lot of hot people who are famous and a lot of famous people who are rich and a lot of rich people who are horrible.
Perfect.
So that's kind of, you know.
Diagram. Yeah.
This also feels like Taylor Jenkins Reid's book.
Yeah. A lot of hot people who are famous. A lot of that's my new blurb for next book.
Please.
I also think though something that like definitely deserves attention from all of your books is like obviously we're romances, we're in it for the happy ever after, we're like excited about our characters getting together. It's like such a perfect event to put both of you together though too, because a major subplot of both of these books are the sister relationship, and like in both it's so special, it's so soft, there's so much that you like want there. It makes you like, if you haven't talked to your sister that day, you want to like text her. Was that like important to you to include, or like how did these sister relationships make their way into both of these books? Emily, do you want to start?
Sure. Yeah, I never want to feel, I'm always so paranoid that I'm talking over everyone. So I need to be like prodded with a cattle rod. I have older brothers. So I did not grow up with a sister, but I've had the same best friend, one of my best friends. We have been friends since we were 10 years old. And like we live within walking distance of each other now for the second time as adults. And like, I think when I started working on Book Lovers, she had moved away and was living in Colorado. And it was kind of bringing back all these weird old feelings of when we both separately like went away to college, and like just that feeling of your life having been side by side for so long and kind of imagining that it would always be that way. And then being like, oh, okay, like, yeah, you didn't, like, I'm going to this school, you're going to this school. I guess see you later. And then, you know, like being adults and being like, okay, you need to move to Colorado and I want you to be happy, but I also really don't want you to move to Colorado. So then she moved back. Now she lives within walking distance. But yeah, I think
was there a I told you so moment?
No, not
she moved back.
No, I think it was so good for her. And the whole time she was like saying, this is probably going to be temporary. Like that's kind of the goal, is like, we're just going to go and have a couple of years living somewhere beautiful and like hiking and camping and whatever. So it was not an I told you so at all. It was just like, I'm so relieved that you didn't just like fall so in love that you like couldn't move back. Yeah. So, and anyway, so I think I was thinking a lot about that relationship in the way that like, there are very few relationships that last that long and are that tight knit. And I also, like, my other best friend is an older sister, and I know her younger sister like decently well too. And like, I've gone on girls trips with them, and that relationship is so intense and like, to me, like mind boggling, because, you know, like traveling with them, it's like, they will be so heinously horrible to each other. And then like 5 minutes later, they will be like literally like rolling around on the floor, kissing each other. And like, you know, it just is like such a different thing than it was for me having older brothers. But I'm really fascinated by that relationship, that older sister, younger sister relationship. And I have like, yeah, quite a few close friends who are the older sister, who have like a younger or multiple younger sisters who they sort of are like the mother hen to as well, because of just like their childhoods. And I think that's like kind of a weirdly common dynamic, that like parentified sibling situation. And so I was like really fascinated about it. It felt like a challenge to write because I don't have sisters. But then at the same time, I was like thinking so much about, you know, trying to make room for my best friend to like live the life that she needed to live while feeling like this really sucks.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense.
I'm glad she's back. I was very invested. And I am glad she's come back.
Yeah, me too. It was, I think it was a really good thing, but this is better.
Yeah. I mean, I'm walking distance. Come on, like that.
Yeah, right. It is magical.
Excellent.
It really is.
Oh,
yeah.
It really feels like the dream, like what you want as an adult. Like
I know. It's so wild. And like, our spouses are really good friends, and like have a ton
I love this.
that we like, things that we aren't interested in really. Like, they're super, super, super into music, and so they'll just like talk about that, and then we'll just like scream into each other's mouths for several hours. Yeah, it is the dream you have as a little kid. You're like, we're gonna have houses next door. Like,
it is. It's like what you grow up wanting. Yeah, that's amazing.
Allie, I think that we did the friend group from Happy Place, and we just insert ourselves in
Emily's.
That's
you guys. So if you have a spare room, and if your friend has a spare room, one is for Stephanie, one is for me.
Yes, they're ready, and by ready I do mean our spare room is fully devoted to ridiculous clothes that I impulse bought over the last 15 years.
I am excited to see you model all of them. I will just like sit on the bed and look at you. It's the sleepover experience I want.
I want to be at the Novel Neighbors sleepover that we missed, and I'm frankly a little offended we weren't invited to.
My heart. I haven't had a sleepover in many years. So
wow.
Listen, it was so great. At 2:30 in the morning, when I was frozen in my own little like sleeping bag, I was like, oh yeah, this is the downside to not being in your own bed, huh?
Yeah.
You decide to share the sleeping bag with someone, and there was only one sleeping bag.
That's
like in something wilder.
Yeah.
Love stories could have, No, the real story is that I was really worried about waking up Cassie, who is upstairs with our friends watching this, because she had to get up for a road trip the next day. And I was like, if I interrupt her in the middle of a REM cycle, I'm going to feel terrible. I cannot do this to her. And then I found out the next day when I told her, like, Cassie, I was freezing. I really wanted you to climb into bed with me. She was like, wow, I almost woke you up because I was freezing and I really wanted to climb into bed with you. And
just laying there shivering next to each other. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
See, this is the miscommunication trope, basically. Exactly. I love that.
The moment of silence for the fact that people don't appreciate and respect the miscommunication trope enough, based on the fact that people in real life are terrible at just saying how they feel about things. Terrible.
That is like, this is exactly what love stories are made of. So
it's all too close to home. That's why everyone doesn't.
We're like,
listen, I know that. I'm living that currently.
Exactly.
To the circling back, sisters. That's
yeah.
I was like, Allie has to answer a question. I don't know where we got to it. Sisters. That's what you
That's where we started. I do have a sister. She's much older than I am, though. She's like 15 years older than I am. And actually, you know what's funny? Like, I did feel a lot of abandonment because when I was a kid, she moved to the US to do her own doctorate through her PhD. And like, I mean, you know, and she was, I feel like, well, she could write a dissertation about, you know, the parentification of older siblings. And I'm sure she has a lot of like beef with me with a lot of things, but we're fairly close. I told her, so she reads some romance, not a lot, but like for the longest time, I didn't tell her actually that I was writing books because, you know, it started with fan fiction and then I published my book and I just thought it would be like writing fan fiction, except that maybe I could make some money off of it. Oh, and I just never, like, I truly never expected that it would get that big. And then I kind of got the sense that maybe like she would find out, maybe she would pick up the book or something and she would find out because she's an academic too. Maybe she would, you know, like, oh, I want to read about an academic. Or, terrifying.
It really could have happened.
Yeah. So I was like, you know, I mean, it happened with my students who found out and then asked me for Emily's. And then we have to make that happen.
I mean, as I was reading that thing you posted, I was like, wait, she didn't tell her students? They literally just found out?
They didn't know. They found out, like, my colleagues and my student found out last week. It was a whole thing.
Like, oh, you're like really good at this and really successful at this. Wow.
But yeah, now I love that. Anyway, my students, maybe my students found out that like I was Ali Hazelwood because Hazelwood is not my last name, and they found out, and they and the email that they sent me was, "Could you get us Emily Henry's autograph?" And I was like, I wish I had Emily Henry's autograph. I don't have it. First of all, if I ever get it,
you will get it. But also, I feel like you should have just replied in all caps, "I'm famous too."
Honestly, though, like, okay, so my favorite student, the one who found out and who asked for the autograph, her name is Emily, spelled like Emma and and she kept telling me after she found out, am I not like a main character in Emily Henry's books? Am I not like her? She writes like I think, like I feel, and I just felt so yes, and I was like,
love that.
I know, and I was like, I will somehow get you an autograph. We'll make it happen.
Because again, while I did just make a joke, I made that joke about being famous, and then I thought, these people don't know me, and they might think that I am like, we're literally famous. My autograph is not worth anything, you guys. My autograph is everywhere.
So much to them, though.
Yeah.
Like, I think that like it would buy me so much love among my student group. So I just want you to know they can purchase a lot of love.
So happily get that love for you.
We're making it happen.
I will buy you those good professor reviews. Like that's
right. The Rate My Professor.
Yeah, Rate My Professor.
Oh my gosh. Now I'm like, I want to go read your Rate My Professor review.
I don't think I have it actually.
Oh, okay.
Or I was never, I think it kind of like lost popularity. My husband had at some point back when it still was there, like a chili pepper. Was something I teased him for, like, ruthlessly.
Oh my gosh. I do think that would put like such a pep in my step to be like,
I have a chili pepper.
Yeah, I have a chili pepper with the youth.
The youths.
Yeah. While we're speaking of your husband, Allie, as a general PSA, in case somebody like missed it on Instagram, I feel like we have to tell people to like stop now. Go to your Instagram, and we need this full story behind the underwear.
Yes.
I mean, the full story is literally that. So first of all, like, he is a very heavy sleeper in the morning. Like, he really struggles to get up, and that's why we work so well. I get really, like, this is like my bedtime. You'd normally be in bed at this point, and I really struggle at night, and he struggles in the morning. So he usually like I wake up and I make him coffee and I bring him coffee in bed because, and so I am truly a good wife, a good partner.
You are the hero of my next romance.
Okay, it's literally the only thing I do for him. I am otherwise a harpy, but like it really needs me. Like you guys should see him in the morning. Like he slithers around. Like he truly cannot do.
That's me. Yeah.
I am really good at waking up. I don't know why. It's my super talent, my splinter skill. I have nothing else but that one. And I wake up the day that my book comes out, and he is in bed next to me, and I'm like going downstairs, and somehow he's able to like rouse himself, and like he takes the comforter and like he pulls it out, and he's only wearing boxers with my cover on the crotch, and
with a very small part of your cover too, like a very
why is that? And I'm looking at him, and I am like, I cannot believe that if we divorce, I have to split my money with you. Like, I cannot.
You're getting a post-nup to celebrate my book coming out.
I cannot believe that this is what is happening between us. But,
I want to think about that more often when something happens. I want that to be like the trail that my brain goes down. That is amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, he's truly a horrible person, and I love him very much for some reason. I don't know what's going on. I must have been brainwashed.
Only explanation.
Yes.
What a way to celebrate a book birthday.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you've just given like some other authors' husbands like,
yes.
Okay, but I would have loved a cake. I like cake. I like sweets. I like donuts. I like so many things.
A cake pop with my book cover on it would have been superb.
Oh my God, what a great. See, you're already better than my husband. Let's get married. Like,
yeah, and you know what? Allie will bring you coffee in bed. So this is like a relationship.
Literally my own.
And if we divorce, you get half of my money. Yeah. It's not a whole lot of money, to be honest. But
yeah, I mean, it'll be 25% at that point because your husband will have already taken half of your money. But yeah.
Oh God.
It's smaller, but I'm still in it for the coffee.
Listen, Catherine Center, when she was here in St. Louis, which like obsessed, right? Yeah. We're all obsessed with Catherine. That's a trifecta. Like your 2 books plus The Bodyguard. Like, wow, what a party everyone would have together. But we had a whole conversation. We were like, literally the most important thing is for our husbands to acquire coffee for us in the morning. Like, I think that's the only, so like Allie, like,
I just want to be. I would be a perfect wife.
I think you would.
But are you eating people? Like, are you guys? Would you be able to like make dinner or like just?
I cannot do anything. I like vacuuming. That's like that's as far as my demand.
Not nothing, Emily.
Well, you have a dog, right, Emily?
I have a dog. I don't like vacuuming as much as I should.
Okay. Is the dog like? Is he scared or she scared of the?
No,
of the
she is like fully deaf now. She never She used to be afraid of everything because she was a little street dog that we got. So like anytime we picked up a single thing, she'd be like, "What's that thing?" Now she's not really afraid of anything, and she's just like totally deaf. So like we can do anything, and
that's not. I mean, it's not. It's good for her. Like
right. I hope it's not sad for her, but it's very convenient.
Yeah. No, it's
sometimes like she'll be asleep still and we'll both be up and then we'll just hear this faint crying because she wakes up in the bedroom still and is like, where is everyone? And we hear this faint crying and she's like walking through the house. So we have to like go running to be like, we're here because it's just like too sad to let her take her.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that's a little sad, but very cute.
Oh, yes.
Really cute. It really, yeah. Honestly, I'm offended she hasn't made an appearance. Like, I'm just saying, I don't know where she's.
Yeah, she's outside hanging out with some friends and, she's just kind of like, who knows what she's doing? Probably like drinking a Corona, wearing a backwards cap. Like,
I love this for her.
Yeah, that's a good Thursday night.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest.
I bet she also goes to Maine during the summer with her.
He did go to Maine with us, and that was very cute because it was her first time seeing the ocean, and she was just like, I don't think so.
Oh, I bet like it's so nice to see like dogs or cats like experience things like water or snow or like sand,
and they're just like a little bit curious. They're like, this is weird, but then also like, okay, I think I got it.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I love
Go back to the
everything.
lap of luxury. Yeah.
She has a great life. I do want to make sure I'm getting to everyone's questions. I feel like I'm doing a bad job. Sorry, everybody. This is just so fun.
Mr. Talking and talking and talking and talking. It's not your fault. You're doing great.
No, you guys are fantastic.
You are a great moderator. We are disruptive authors.
Mhm.
That's
We're learning so much about yourself. This is what we want. This is the content everyone is looking for anyway. So, like, we want to hear about the dog. Like, tell me a person who has ever been mad at hearing about a dog.
Yeah.
Allie, a lot of people do want to know how you balance it all. So, if you haven't hit rock bottom on balancing everything yet, tell us how you do it.
I am taking a year off because last year I was so bad at everything. Like I was like, the whole like deadline thing that I did this Monday, like I was doing it every week, and then I wouldn't answer emails. I wouldn't answer my students' emails. I would like, I wasn't really doing as much, you have to not just like teach your classes and grade your stuff, but go to faculty meetings and stuff, but you also have to like do research, and I was using all my spare time to write. Like it wasn't working. And I was being horrible to literally every person in my life, except, well, also to my husband, but he deserved it. But everyone else did not deserve it. And so I was like, you know what, I'm taking a year off and seeing what happens, and that's terrifying, of course. So I live in a state of terror that I am making all the wrong choices, but it's fine. But yeah, I don't.
That really is, because there's, I feel like so often you just get like a non-answer, and it's like, sometimes it just is impossible to balance it all.
Yeah, I couldn't. I definitely have problems with multitasking. Like I literally, I'm not good at being on task. So I feel like I could have done better if I had, a frontal lobe or something.
Seems like a lot, though. Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't working out. But there are a lot of people who are like, are great and like have. Yeah. So,
right.
If you want advice on how to like do this, there are several people that you can look to. And like, I don't want to like people to think that it's impossible to have it all and stuff, because I'm sure it is.
I appreciate you giving us a real answer, Allie.
Okay, but can I say also, like, there are some of the other writers that I talk to, like, we have this really cool chat with like all the other Berkeley debuts that debuted in 2021, the year that I debuted last year. Yeah, 2021. And so many of them have kids, full-time jobs.
Yeah.
And then they write books. And then they're like, oh, I ran a marathon last weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I feel the same way. I'm like, I feel like I can do one thing. Like I get so stressed out when I have like two things scheduled in a week, where I'm like, no, I'm doing book stuff. And even just like writing versus doing events, like I get so stressed out where I'm like, well, there's an hour that I'm going to be doing something that night. And like, what if
Today, same. I was like, well, today I have this thing. And so like, it's not like I can work up until that time. I have to like
the same thing.
Psych myself up for that.
Yeah. I'm just going to sit motionless until 8 p.m. my time because I have something at 8 and I don't want to miss it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I am gonna sit motionless and not download Firefox up until the time that I have to log in.
Yeah, but it's so wild having friends who you're like, you're putting out as many books as me. You have kids and you're a lawyer. Like,
yes, I know.
I don't know. People do it.
People do it, so it's possible. Not for me, but it's possible.
Me neither. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also okay to take a year off and like go do your own thing. Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Definitely.
Okay, I do have to do. We may go like 5 minutes over. We have to do some this or that's because we had a lot of fun making these today. And really, by I say we, our really good friend Maddie. If anyone wants to follow her on Instagram, great follow. It's then Maddie Reads. She's incredible. We're gonna show you. Yeah, I think Maddie's upstairs.
Maddie upstairs.
Show everyone the quality content that Maddie brought to the Romance Book Club sleepover. Okay, I can't start with that because that would we'll get to one that like has to be our ending one. But so we always do a round of this or that questions, and they're always so fun. There's like no rules of like, if you don't like one of the ones I gave you, you just have to provide a third answer. Like, fine. Very casual. The first one that we have to start with is When Harry Met Sally or You've Got Mail.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I'm sorry. It's the most stressful one. Our ask. I swear. We're gonna get it out of the way.
I'm gonna be real. I still haven't seen When Harry Met Sally.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
I thought you were gonna say I haven't read watched You've Got Mail, and I was like, how?
No, I have watched You've Got Mail. No, I'm gonna go with You've Got Mail just because. Yeah.
Okay.
I have read People Leave Me on Vacation, which I know was inspired. So I feel like. So I guess I'm gonna go with When Harry Met Sally. Because
okay, you should watch When Harry Met Sally, because like as it turns to fall, then you should watch when it's like fall weather. That's like a perfect to watch. I really have thought for years that You've Got Mail was my favorite rom-com, and then I rewatched When Harry Met Sally after I had written like the first draft of People We Meet on Vacation. I think it was after I'd started the book. I don't remember. Anyway, around the time I was working on the book, I rewatched the movie. And remember that, like, I always undersell in my own memory how much I love it, because you just don't see Billy Crystal as like a romantic lead very often. And in the beginning of the movie, he's so annoying and grating to me. So when I think of that movie, I always think of the very beginning. And then when I'm rewatching it, I'm like just so fully on board by the end. And I really don't know. I think I feel like I would, if this were like a quiz about myself, I would fail it right now, because I just don't like I feel like either answer somebody could like pop out and be like, you're lying, that's wrong. So You've Got Mail is like the surface one that I always think is my favorite, but I'm not positive that it is. That was a quick little. That
was a really great journey in the Emily Henry
and it made me want to watch When Harry Met Sally. So like that's perfect.
It's just two people talking through New York City for like 2 hours, which is like kind of all I aspire. Yeah.
Was like, don't we get a Carrie Fisher appearance, or am I thinking of the wrong thing?
No,
I know that from the gifs. Like it's the gif of her saying, I know, or something like that, right?
Yeah, I know. Never leave her. Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
Okay. If you're going to your local coffee shop, are you getting a seasonal beverage like what's in style, or are you getting like a plain coffee?
Ooh. No.
An ooh of like absolutely not getting a plain coffee?
Plain coffee is for at home. If I'm going out, I'm getting fancy. And I will say my drink of choice at my personal local coffee shop is their French toast latte, which is not as sweet as it sounds, because this is the best coffee shop on the planet. And their sweet seasonal things are still like not super sweet. They're just so good. Allie, now that you know how much I'll judge you, what's your favorite?
No, I could never drink anything bitter and black. But also I find pumpkin spice latte repulsive. And so it would be like seasonal or like something fancy, but not something seasonal like that. I also don't like peppermint. So really,
peppermint.
You don't like it, or you like it?
Peppermint. I think it's.
I mean, I think it's fine for toothpaste, but like I'm not gonna eat it. Like it's But
I think there's something wrong with my tongue, because like I find peppermint so horrible.
It's totally fair. It's not one of the great flavors of existence. It's no matter what people say. It's
I'm sure that there's some pro peppermint happening in the chat, but we can't see that.
So you know what bothers me the most? When people like mix peppermint with chocolate. Like why would you do that?
With chocolate.
Why?
I don't think people are going to be agreeing with us, Allie. I think we're saying the most controversial things of the night is that I agree with that.
This is wow. I'm going to think of you every time I order a pumpkin spice latte. Which, in fairness, I don't like. I like my coffee shop's version of that, like more than the, like
melted candy, which I'll still happily drink if I'm being honest. But yeah.
I thought we were friends.
Well, I'm not taking peppermint, Allie. I will not touch the peppermint. Don't worry.
I will say, some people are saying that you're really breaking their hearts. There's a lot of, and I think potentially maybe the student that we discussed, Emily, might be unstanding you. Both of you. I'm not sure.
Is it? Yeah, no, I know Emily is here because she texted me. Okay, can I just say a moment to shade Emily, whom I really love.
Let's go.
My favorite student. Last year she won first prize. I mentored her through one of her independent studies, and last year she won first prize at the university level or at the college level research thing. We love you. However, even though she's very good at research and very smart, she literally texted me this morning saying, I want to see your thing with Emily Henry. How do I do it? Instead of Googling it.
But I am that friend. I am that friend who doesn't Google, who just texts the person on the day of a thing where they're like running around doing things. And I'm just like, hey.
I know, it's just such a typical student thing to like ask the professor instead of Googling it. And I was like, oh, I love her.
I just want to circle back really quickly before I ask the last one. And Allie, you made it sound like you didn't do anything well last year. Those were your words.
Oh, no, well, Emily is she was spearheading everything.
But it sounds like you were a great mentor. People don't hang out or text.
I can't see the chat, but Emily, like you better be saying, Emily, that I was a great mentor.
You better be.
Emily's currently defending her inability to know how to do text, but I'm sure she'll get.
I love this game of telephone where it's like, let's get into an argument with Emily about peppermint mocha and
Emily. If you want an autograph from Emily, which you have been asking for,
Emily right now.
I want to remind you that I am your degree of separation with Emily, and so you better not upset me.
Now that she knows that I can't eat peppermint.
The peppermint, yeah. That's I feel like we've been.
I do again. Want to reiterate, I literally have been like, I wonder if there's like something wrong with my taste buds because I can't even express to me how it feels to have a peppermint on my tongue. It burns so badly.
do you do flavored toothpaste? Like, how does this work?
I do wintergreen. Wintergreen doesn't bother me. It's peppermint specifically.
Okay. I have to say that happens to me with the toothpaste. Sometimes toothpaste burns my mouth. That's
same. But then I'm like, well, what have I eaten today? Then I'm like, probably this is just like germs and bacteria. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a scientist, so you'll have to tell me.
I don't know either. I can tell you though that people like food, like my husband, if he eats anything with lemon, his ears ring. And I'm like, this is so weird. So
bodies are weird. Bodies are weird.
Exactly. Bodies. What is biology, really? Yeah.
I mean, we don't know. If you can't tell us,
I don't.
We're screwed.
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking the same thing. Like, if Allie doesn't explain it, like,
I don't know.
Last game that we will play, I promise. But I do think it's important that everyone knows that Emily came in with a review, Allie, that you are the best. You're late with emails, but you're the GOAT. And that Emily is allowing the mint slander. Because your writing is so good, Emily. So still standing you.
Can I just say that Emily, my student Emily, like having mentored her for a year, her taking over this life is so her, and I love it so much.
Such a power move.
Yes, that is exactly what you would expect from her. If you had met her like once, you would be like,
gosh, you're like, she will be on camera.
By a lot of play in the comments. Yeah, she might have taken all of the fans. We're all focused now on Emily. Emily, I want the best for you. I really care about you getting another first prize this year. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm
same. And there's a part of me that's like, maybe she should be writing romance, you know?
Emily is writing. Okay, Emily. Okay, I know we're like going super over, but I have to tell you this story. So Emily did 23andMe. I don't think she would mind me saying because she's very open with this story. She did 23andMe and found out that the person she thought was her father was not her father. But she found out like her new father, and her new father is the best person in the world, and like she now lives with him and his kid.
She is a rom-com heroine. She literally is a rom-com heroine,
and she wants to write a book based on that. And like, I'm like, this is amazing. It's gold. I will refer you to my agent. So she's writing, and I cannot wait.
That is really exciting. I also just instantly am like picturing the setting of like what the fictional version of the dad's house would be, and like the little town where he knows everyone.
I think you're making her entire year, because she already felt written by Emily Henry, and now she's like truly written by Emily Henry. I love this.
Oh, wow.
Wow, lots of support now for Emily to write a book. Literally, like, what is happening? I think I feel like if I was in a real room, like, we would have lost control of the room. Like
putting Emily on a chair, bouncing her around, like for some reason wearing like animal skins and blood, like it's
yellow jacket.
Yeah.
Loving this reference.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna go out on a real bang, and I think that might be literal, because I truly cannot not ask this question, and I'm already sorry. But if you had to choose, are you doing Omegaverse or Bigfoot erotica?
Oh my gosh. Okay, explain me what Omegaverse is again, Allie.
Sorry. My time to shine.
I was queuing you up for this, Allie. I wanted this for you.
Yeah.
Hi, Emily.
I'm ready.
Okay, but whenever Charlie and Nora were talking about like Bigfoot erotica and stuff, like I pictured it as a Megaverse in my head, like, or because I think that there are like shared elements. So, and Emily, I know you're young, so this is your time to disconnect from the chat, and goodbye, Emily. Like Emily, the other one.
Had nothing to do with, she's not.
So go around, mute the sound for right now.
So Omegaverse is basically, there are like humanity is divided into like alpha, beta, and omega, and alpha go in like a rat. And they are kind of more dominant, and they like are looking for a mate, and they mate with omegas, and there are so many bodily fluids involved. It's like fan fiction catnip. It's my favorite trope ever. I would like to take this moment to answer Omegaverse to the question, and I cannot talk about Omegaverse highly enough. Highly recommended.
Okay, well, because I still think I would have to do hours of Googling, I think that I have to by default say Bigfoot erotica, because I would know roughly what I was doing, what was going on.
But I feel like the Bigfoot probably would have some elements of, I don't know if you read like Ice Planet Barbarians.
Not
but,
yet,
like,
I want to. Yeah.
There are some like Omegaverse elements in there, so I could feel that.
Yes. Yeah, I think it would ultimately be the same kind of vibe from the very brief. Like this conversation I do feel like has aged 45 years, where I'm just like, okay, so does it have a Wikipedia page? Where I'm just like, I don't know. But
there is a primer on AU3. I don't know. AU3 is what it is.
AU3 is. I'm really cute enough to know about that.
You never know. Like I feel like the fan fiction community basically lives on AU3, but like then sometimes I will say to someone who's not like a fan fiction person, and then be like,
well,
what are you talking
about it was because I was like raving about Naomi Novik's
she's one of the founders
and Uprooted, and people were like, oh my gosh, you have to go read her AO3 fix. And I still have not, but every once in a while, like every 6 months, I'll be like, oh yeah, that exists, and then forget.
So many big, like Claudia Gray, who's one of my favorite ever, also,
and she's doing a bunch of Star Wars stuff, like canon stuff now.
Yeah, and she writes Star Wars fan fiction as well, which is
so fun. I love the one of her published Star Wars novels that I've read. I loved. So now I'm gonna go.
Lost Stars. What is it called?
Where the Imperial like pilot, and oh my god, it's so good. I have chills.
Claudia Gray is just
I just want to take this time to point out that Allie pitches Love on the Brain and goes, I don't know. I don't think my elevator pitch was very good. Ask Allie about the Omegaverse, and she's like, let's go, class. Here's where we are.
I am but a fangirl. Like, I love
that about you. It's so fun to be around people who love things. Like, go through, like, just so many people go through the phase of needing to like hate things, or I don't know. And it's just nice when you come out on the other side and you're like, oh, what a joy to be around someone who just wants to talk about everything that they love. And
I think that for me was like, especially in grad school, in the first couple of years of grad school, I feel like grad school is so much about like tearing down stuff and like being critical of everything. In the first 2 years of grad school, I was a monster.
Really?
Like I would read papers, academic papers, and then like looking for things that I hated so that I could bring them up during lab meeting. I despised the person that I was. And then like I feel like I came out and I was like, oh, or I could like things.
Yeah, I feel like it's just a weird part, like, because even just in undergrad, I feel like I was a little bit that way. I feel like that's just it's like the process you go through to learn what you do love.
Okay,
like,
I'm so sorry. Can we talk about Emily in undergrad and the vampire thing? Because you never showed us the pictures.
Oh, I posted it. I'll text my friend again to get them.
What? Yeah. You posted it? Oh my God. I missed that.
So yeah, I went through, for those who don't know, in college, I went through a phase where my best friend, my other best friend, they're very competitive, where she and I, like, basically first we got really into True Blood, but it was still airing at the time. So we were like caught up on it. And then on a whim one night, it was like, I'm going to watch Vampire Diaries. And watched the first episode and was like texting her being like watching it being like, this is so funny and bad. And like texting her like, this is so bad. And then like fast forward and I've watched like 2.5 seasons or whatever. And I'm like, I'm crying. I love it so much. Anyway, so we went through the huge vampire phase in general, but then also we thought it was so funny to cover ourselves with fake blood.
I love it. I love it.
We would put in fake fangs too. We got like the individuals you could glue in, and we would just go to frat parties and we would just be like, show up and just first act like everything was normal. And weirdly, like, here's the weird thing about frat parties. Like somehow we thrived. Like everybody wanted to talk to the two girls who showed up covered in fake blood.
I was like, just to clarify, this was not like a frat party where it's like a costume party.
No, there was some of those too. I love going to theme parties, but no, this was just like, or like the hockey house parties. This same friend got us banned from a fraternity because she shaved her head in the bathroom. So like found someone's clippers and shaved her head just like on a whim. So
wow.
I don't know. And there's a lot of things that I write into like little details about backstory that I'll write into my characters. And then later I'll like post something about it, like about my history, and my editor will reply and be like, oh, that was real. And like, there's been things I've had to take out because they're like, this seems too kooky. And it's like, oh yeah. Totally no one would.
Oh yeah. No one would do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Gosh. Fond half memories.
Okay. But I cannot believe that you were in your past. I just realized, like, that at some point you guys were like, we just realized that we weren't cool
yes,
doing that.
And so that was the end of the story. So she came to visit because she dropped out of school to go be an au pair, which she didn't end up doing. And that's why Shadi and Beach Reed dropped out of school to be an au pair and didn't end up doing it. But she would still come visit all the time. And so one weekend she showed up and we were like, gonna go to a frat party. We're like putting on our fake blood. And then I think we just like got tired and like probably were like drinking a little bit while we were like doing our makeup and whatever. And then we like put on an episode of Vampire Diaries, and then we accidentally just stayed home and we're like laying on the rug wearing fake blood, watching Vampire Diaries. And then it was like time to go to bed. So we had to go wash our shared face. We were in the bathroom and I had like, this one like dirty towel that I was like washing like once every week and a half or 2 weeks or whatever, because I was a college student. And we were just like over the sink.
And we don't like to shower.
Yeah. And I don't like to shower, which we've already established. And we were just like, washing the blood off with opposite corners of my towel. And then I was like, I just realized we're not cool. And it was so true. In that moment, I was like, oh my God. Like,
and that's where you're wrong. You were the coolest.
Yeah.
The coolest.
I don't think so. I don't think I mean, it was a good time and I have no regrets.
This
but it was
is slander. Slander. No.
I don't like peppermint and I'm not cool. This is a slander. It was like an amazing experience, and we just like started laughing so hard we couldn't stand up because we were just like feeling so like, you know, that feeling where you're with your friend and you're just like, we're so funny and vibrant and like, yeah, putting on our makeup and our fake blood, and then accidentally we watched 6 hours of Vampire Diaries and washed our faces with a dirty towel.
I disagree respectfully. I think that is prime cool behavior.
You're breaking up a little bit, but I got cool behavior, and so I'm just
that
gonna
is okay. That is what you should.
That's what you should take away from that. Yeah, that's the takeaway.
Yeah.
Wow, that is honestly, I'm like, that's the perfect story to end on for the evening. Like, I don't even
right.
know.
Here it is.
To how cool you are. Like, Allie, again, I feel like you brought us the content that we needed to know. You asked this evening.
I brought you Emily, the other Emily.
Yeah, right. We needed the other Emily. She was the missing piece, and now we're gonna have to have her as like a ringer or whatever, in the audience at everything we do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, man, I really wish like this is not built to do this, so it's not even possible. But I just want to be like, Emily, I'll send you the link real quick. Like, I don't know how you feel about showing your face to America, but we have it if you were open to it. Wow, incredible. This has been amazing. I literally think that like tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and be like, why does my mouth hurt so much? And then I'm gonna realize I was like smiling and laughing so hard during this entire time. I could not think of a better way to spend a Thursday. According to the chat, everyone else agrees. So like check that off your list. The event that you waited all day, you did nothing else for. So that
it was, yes.
A+ report out from everybody, a 5 out of 5 on Rate My Professor. And
chili pepper.
And a chili pepper, multiple chili peppers.
Yeah.
I think that we're putting multiple chili peppers on the page for sure. Again, if anybody like randomly found us and was like, what is happening on screen? I have 2 amazing books I would love to send to you. From the
I don't even have my book, but like I have Book Lover.
I don't have my book, but I
have this book.
I don't have either book, but I have this furry thing that I haven't worn because it's too small, but I got for a spy themed birthday party. Anyway.
Wait, is it like a top?
Yeah, theoretically, but it's not a top for me. I'll tell you that. Maybe for my dog.
Wow.
We need the picture now. You give us.
Yeah. Sorry, Stephanie. You're like trying to do our send off, and I'm like,
I'm so sorry. Yes.
On my desk. Yeah.
I am so here, and I'm just trying to not make it worse. I'm like, don't give them. What is happening, Allie? Is that just a story?
My friend sent this to me as a present.
Guys,
it's a picture of Cher.
I love that.
Wow. That's just like the fun stuff that you have sitting around. I feel like I'm bad at show and tell. I'm in my boss's office.
Truly, yeah.
Like, I don't have like anything to show.
You're in a professional environment that is being treated like a professional environment, and I have a furry bra thing and a Cher picture covering where I would theoretically write.
That's like Allie's friend sent her a beheaded dog.
Yeah, it's an earring. It's an earring.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't know where the other one is, but yeah,
one is better.
My friend Courtney. Hi, Courtney. She's probably not watching this, but I love you.
What
Courtney.
a vibe. Just I really like. Sorry. I'm also just like picturing like how this interaction would happen. Like that this is like also like wearing like this is not like a huge spoiler, guys, but at some point there's a discussion about dress codes in a lab. And I'm just like, if she shows up with like just a head.
I would love for B to wear those. Yeah. Just to like piss Levi off.
I think she would too. I feel like she would.
You know who would wear the research assistant Rocio would 100% wear those, like unironically. She would be like, this is my personality.
Yeah. This is who I am. This is the first impression. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Incredible evening. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Allie, Emily, you both are everything and just so fun to talk to. Is there anything you want to say before we sign off for the evening?
Everybody go get Love on the Brain from the novel Neighbor. Happy release.
Yeah, and book lovers, and just thank you for tuning in. I feel like we went long. I'm so sorry. And
no one's complaining.
Yeah. Hi to all the upstairs people.
The upstairs people.
The upstairs. It's very
come up there. So
it's very Jane Eyre, the upstairs.
Right.
Wow.
The attic wives.
The attic wives, exactly.
Yeah. We let them come. They have a door that they can exit through. So
that's big of you.
No fire hazards here. Wow. Okay, we're gonna do our thing where we smile and give YouTube like a good photo to use. But thank you so much, everyone. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Feel free to keep interacting with each other in the comments. I know y'all are having a great time. Keep talking to Emily. She's